All right, everybody, welcome back to the Forbidden Mountain. Today we are here to reveal a first time ever card from Shimmering Skies, which is set 5 of Disney Lorcana. Scott, how are we feeling? A little hint here. We excited about this one?
Yeah, it's good. It's solid. Yeah, happy about it. It's got some good synergies. It brings in a couple cool typal effects that I really like in card games. So pretty excited.
Okay, I guess we can talk about that in a moment. So Shimmering Skies coming out in just a few short weeks now at this point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Recording this video probably about 3 weeks away, something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. Coming fast. All right, Scott. So we're gonna kick right into it here, and you were gonna tell us about our card.
Sure. So the card is called Queen's Sensor Core. It's a 2 cost item that's inkable. It is a Lorcana lore item. This is not something from a Disney movie or anything like that. It has 2 abilities on it. The first one's called Symbol of Nobility. At the start of your turn, if you have a princess or queen character in play, gain 1 lore. And the second part is Royal Search. 2 and ink and exert it, and you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a princess or queen character card, you may put it into your hand. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. And this is a rare from the set.
Okay, so just by comparison, we have an inkable item with
Yep.
a potential passive lore gain.
Mm-hmm.
In success and past, we've had flute, which
Yeah.
is in some ways similar to this. That it's an item that requires songs, but that is uninkable. Requires you to play a song every turn, but it is like one of those where as soon as you play a song, you can get the payoff. So this item needs to have 2 things happen. It needs to be in play, and it also needs to have a princess or queen in play to fulfill to gain
Yeah.
at the start. But our secondary ability here, the Royal Search, basically later on in the game as we go, this is kind of a tool to keep our hand healthy, which I do like. You touched on the word typal, right?
Typal is what it's called now.
Typal.
Yeah.
So explain to me what that is exactly.
So it's basically like the keyword, not the it's like the keywords of the card. So like princesses, queens, knights, etc. It's just like um the grouping of the character. Like what do they call it? Traits? I guess you would say.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
archetypes
yeah,
or characteristics. I think they're
yeah,
characteristics. Yeah.
yeah. So it's cool to be able to push the themes of princesses and queens.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of them work well in Amber to begin with. A lot
Yeah.
of the most powerful ones. The real key for this card, like you said, is the card has to be in play. The princess has to be in play at the start of the turn. But I don't think you can really ignore both the abilities on this card, which is gaining lore outside of questing and drawing cards. I mean,
Yeah.
like I don't think you can really ignore
On an
that.
inkable
Yeah,
also.
I don't think. Well, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like we're playing cards like this now that do one or the other, and they're normally uninkable. So,
Yep. Mhm.
uh, if we're really pressuring towards like keywords matter in a way, then this is definitely a step in the right direction. Adding in potential passive lore gain, and then just the conditional way to draw cards, I think, is a nice way to do it. So you
Yep.
did come up with a little here for us. So it's like how much lore is enough? With a 1-drop queen or princess, you should gain 4 or 5 over the course of a game. This is kind of similar right now in Amber decks if we're just play like a Pride Lands.
Yep.
So obviously the Pride Lands is just there. It has 7 willpower. It's a location, so it can be challenged. This is an item that can sit and play. That if you really can just sit behind a 1 cost and just kind of let it the I would say like shift lines
Yep.
kind of power through. Also, this is a nice way to do that. If Princess's decks can come around, and we're going to take a look at a couple of these soon, then this definitely is a potential of like probably the core to that, right? Like we
Yeah.
were kind of missing something like this.
Yeah. I mean,
What about the what about drawing cards? Like how often should we expect to draw a card with this?
So I realistically think you don't actually have to draw a single card off this for it to actually be worth it if you can
Okay,
get it on the turns and gain that 4 to 5 lore throughout the game.
sure.
The issue is though that you're not always going to drop this on turn 2. You're not always going to have it like a princess to back it up. So at that point, in my opinion, if you just draw 1 card from it being inkable, I think it's worth it.
So
Um,
basically, as long as it replaces itself once.
yeah, that's in my opinion. I mean, as long as you can gain that passive lore and it's out there. I mean, like we put on the screen there all the princesses in the game. I didn't even know that Ursula was a princess, by the way. I'm just gonna Just going to throw that out there for my lack of card knowledge in the bottom
Ursula?
right corner. That Ursula is a princess. Yes.
Oh, Vanessa. Yeah, that
Yeah.
checks out. Oh,
Yeah.
she's a princess, not a queen, right?
Yeah. I didn't even know that.
Fair enough.
So all the versions of these characters are either most of them are either queens or princesses. Most of them are princesses. There's a Jasmine, for example, that's queen.
Mhm.
But if you think about it, we only put one version up there, but a lot of these are the pretty staple curved characters that you have within these colors. I think the most important ones to point out are the Aurora that's on the screen now, the Sapphire one, because what she allows you to do is exert an item to look at the top card of your deck, and you can put it on the top or bottom if you wish. So if you see a princess there, before you want to pay the 2 ink, you can use that on the same turn. So you can use the Queen Sensor itself to actually look at the top card, see if it's a princess or queen, and then decide from there and try to go search for those cards.
Yeah.
Ariel is obviously a staple, so you're going to find her in these decks. And then Cinderella is a 1-drop, which is really important. Obviously, has a lot of synergy with steel cards as well. Kita has a 1-drop character. Mulan has a 1-drop character. You're never going to leave home without Rapunzel. So, I mean, realistically, I don't think you're really like changing up your Amber-based decks that much to include a lot of these cards.
Right. Yeah, it is one of those where, ironically, the core of the deck is princess themed,
Right.
just because they're like insanely good cards.
Yeah.
So this is just like I feel it really does feel like it has the potential to be more of a character based deck, and then like instead of needing songs and being so focused there.
Yep.
So it might lean itself into being like a more just like princess aggro deck of some sorts that just has this passive lore card in it that also has the ability to recoup itself. Like if you really commit enough cards.
Yeah.
We didn't do all the math this time, guys. Sorry.
No.
But even on the screen here, just to add on a couple more, Lady Tremaine's a card that I didn't realize was a princess or a queen also, I guess, which is kind of funny.
Just that version. Just
the
that
queen
version.
herself is great. All the Queen of Hearts, I guess, are hitting that too. So, there's enough. And then, of course, we have one of our new princesses here, the Vanellope von Schutz. So there's obvious synergy here of like, hey, there's enough of these cards in the game that this card, at the very least of gaining passive lore, should not be difficult.
Agreed. Yep.
So I guess let's talk a little bit more about playing off the top. So what are we looking for maybe to add some additional synergy?
So I think the most important part to get to the second part of the card is you need to hit that princess or queen. So we need to be able to set up the top of our deck to make sure that we're hitting it. I already mentioned briefly about that Aurora, but any effect that basically allows you to dig and put something on top or put something from a hand on top of your deck is going to be very important to getting this to go off. So on the screen are all the cards I could find that said top of the deck, including any new ones. Obviously, the whole set has not been revealed yet, and there may be more synergy as more cards are revealed. But everything on the screen allows you to somehow manipulate the top of your deck to get there. I already mentioned the Aurora. There's a lot of Amethyst cards. So if this could see play, for example, in an Amber Amethyst deck, like you have that new Turtle Merlin that allows you to look at the top 2 cards and keep one on top and put one on the bottom. I think that's what it does. I don't think it allows you to put both on the bottom or anything, but I think it's one on top, one on the bottom, or something like that. So that is an easy setup. It does it on the way in and on the way out. Like all the Merlins has 2 lore. Merlin's Cottage, obviously you play with the top card revealed. Your opponent will know it as well, but at least you'll get that card. I really think like in an aggro deck, like Boss on a Roll will be a key card for this. Because you gain a lore and then it sets up your deck. You can actually probably set it up in a way where you would easily draw 2 cards off the sensor core, because you would put one on top right away because it's a song, draw the card, and then you could put one like 2 cards underneath that one and then draw it the next time it's your turn as well, because you'll draw for your turn as well. So I think that's also going to be an important use of this. I think that's where that card doesn't see a ton of play, but I think in an aggro deck that gains you a lore and allows you to basically draw 2 cards off of it and set up your deck, I think it could be really powerful.
Yeah. I think for me, it's more or less just understanding that princesses and queens really isn't like a keyword that we've been targeting in the past.
Yep.
It's more like, oh, this is just a good card. The fact that it's a princess is almost irrelevant.
Yep.
This is probably the first princess card where it's like, this is really actually relevant now. So now it makes you go back and say, okay, exactly what am I working with? Yep. And when you start hearing that Rapunzel, Ariel, Kita, the queen, like all these cards that you're already playing in these decks are just check, like they're hitting the check marks.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a no-brainer that this card will definitely get some testing to start with for sure.
Mhm.
And if it puts princesses on the map, I'm sure plenty of people out there will be pretty happy about that.
Agreed.
Well, Scott, it has been really great, of course. And as always, we want to say thank you so much to Ravensburger for allowing us to reveal this card to you. It's, a couple weeks away, Scott. That's all we have left. And before we know it, we'll be sitting in Vegas ready to play with these cards. So,
Yep. Can't wait.
but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's spoiler reveal. If you can, hit a like for us. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.
See ya.